Tomato Week right here on Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun. Starting off with one of my favorite summertime dishes, homemade macaroni and tomatoes. And we're talking about tomatoes from a mason jar. Yes, indeed. Join us.
Okay, everybody. We are going to make a very simple Appalachian, traditionally Southern dish, macaroni and tomatoes. And that starts with boiling the water, which I think everybody knows how to boil water, and adding the macaroni into the boiled water. Just make sure you add some salt to your water. Once you add the macaroni into the water, you want to make sure to stir it so that the macaroni doesn't clump together. Stir it until it starts to roll on its own, and then you're going to continue to boil it until it's done. You don't want it too mushy, you don't want it too hard. Just check it and see if it's a consistency that you like to eat. Alright, our macaroni noodles are boiling. They are ready to be drained, and now we're going to get our maters in the pot with all the yumminess that makes the classic Appalachian mountain southern dish of macaroni and tomatoes. And woo-wee, I am fogging up. There we go. Alright, we've got our noodles in the strainer, and we're going to add to our pot, back to our pot, about 2 tablespoons of butter. And we are going to use some actual bacon grease. Now, if you don't have bacon grease, you can use 4 tablespoons of butter. But we save our bacon grease because it's good to cook with, and it certainly does add the flavor that it just adds flavor. That's all. It just adds the flavor. Ooh-wee. There's 1. And 2. And get that going. And as soon as that's all melty and yummy, I'm going to add in our stewed tomatoes. Now, Brooks and I canned these tomatoes last summer. I think we only got a few cans left. And then we got to do some more, hopefully this summer. This is 2 quart jars of canned tomatoes. You can use 2 of the larger store, I guess it's about 28 ounce jars of stewed tomatoes, or you can use a large jar of stewed tomatoes and a large jar of diced tomatoes, like if you like more petite diced. Now I'm just taking my masher. We did make these a little bit large because we just kind of separated them with our hands, which is the way his mamaw has done it for centuries. Well, not centuries, but it's the way his mamaw did it. And we're gonna definitely get that in there. Now, I am probably not going to salt these because we slightly oversalted them when we canned them, and so we think they're salty enough. I'm going to take a little taste just to make sure. If I think it needs it, I'll get it. Let me go ahead and do that now. See, for me that's salty enough, and if we want more salt, we can certainly add it when add salt when we eat it. My goodness, brain farts today. Alright, I will be right back. I'm gonna just add some pepper, and then as soon as this comes to a simmer, we're gonna add back in the macaroni, and then I think we're pretty much done. Such a simple dish, and I think that's really the point, is that people used what they had. Sometimes Depression era, or even before that, they had pasta and they had tomatoes, and it became a comfort food. And so it's just delicious. When I was first introduced to it, I thought I maybe would not like it. But, wrong. I really do. Oh, and we're also going to add in about a tablespoon of sugar. Everybody adds in the sugar. In the South, anyway. Doesn't really make it sweet, it just makes it just slightly less tangy. Delicious. We will be back when we add the macaroni. Alright, we are gonna add the macaronis into the tomatoes. Whoop! There we went. Oh yeah. The simplicity of this dish sometimes amazes me. And if you've never had it, I just definitely recommend that you give it a shot because it's just so good. And honestly, we're just serving it up with some fresh corn on the cob and some bratwursts that I'm going to do in the air fryer. And we've got some cornbread that I made this morning. And that's going to be dinner tonight. Super easy. Funny story, I was making cornbread this morning and I needed an egg, and so there was, I thought, what was the last of our 18 pack of eggs left in the bottom of the fridge, and I was thinking to myself, we probably should order eggs soon. So I went and I grabbed an egg, and I'm trying to crack that egg. That egg is cracking, but nothing is coming out. I'm embarrassed to say that those eggs have been in the bottom of the fridge since Easter. And they were the hard-boiled ones. Not colored, just hard-boiled. And we didn't use them all for deviled eggs. Yeah. Anyway, so I ended up adding a little sour cream and extra baking powder, and the cornbread came out great. So if you ever run out of eggs and you want to make cornbread, you can do it. Because I also use the self-rising cornmeal. Funny story. Alright. It's done, y'all. That is it. Now, if you want to spice it up a little, you could add some Italian seasoning. You could serve it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Or just a pat of butter on the top. Or a little extra pepper. But most people eat it just like this. That's it. Good old-fashioned Southern Appalachian mountain people macaroni and tomatoes. For tonight's simple dinner with our macaroni and tomatoes, we're having some bratwurst in the air fryer. We're simply going to do these in the air fryer on the air fry setting for 14 minutes. If you're going to do bratwurst in the air fryer, and it works really well, I've used my mom's too, who has the drawer kind. Just make sure you flip them in the middle, so around 7 minutes you flip them. But since we've got the rack style, ours does not need to be flipped. Delicious bicolor corn on the cob. Boil it and butter it. Alright, it's done.
Hey guys, so here we are. It's dinner time. Macaroni and tomatoes, Southern style. Now, most of you would think of macaroni and tomatoes as what they call American chop suey, which is macaroni and tomatoes with ground beef, or some people call it goulash even. But back during the war, especially in the South, talking about World War I and II, by the way, not the Civil War, but the South, meat was rationed and there wasn't a whole lot of meat to go around. So if you had good old canned tomatoes, and you had elbow macaroni, which was the most cost effective, well, that's what you fixed. And so, your good old canned tomatoes, by the way, that's the only way to fix macaroni and tomato. I don't recommend trying it with tomato juice or stewed tomatoes from the can at the store.
I told them they could do that.
You can, but you can if you have to. But it's not recommended. Not by this Southerner right here. I'm just going to say that out loud. But if it's a last resort, it's a last resort, and
Sometimes
that's
you
what
just
you
don't
got.
have home canned.
If you ain't got it, then you ain't got it. So, but let me just go ahead
Let's
and
see
get
if
into
your northern wife can manage the macaroni and tomatoes.
Just like my granny used to make. And when you got a little fresh corn, a nice bratwurst, and you got some nice good cornbread there with a big old pat of butter on top. All I got to say is that's a party in my mouth, and I like it a lot. So, from our kitchen to yours, we pray that you have a blessed evening. Tell you what, if you've got some canned maters on hand, fix them this way. I tell you what, you won't regret it, because macaroni and tomato, one of my all-time favorite dishes, and it's a summer dish. Now that we're into summer, macaroni and cheese, great. Macaroni and tomato, even better. So from our house to yours, God bless you. We'll see you next time. At the conclusion here, we'd ask you to like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here on Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun, because I tell you what, the food is a big part of it, of course. So I'm going to get into this, and we'll catch you next time. Brooks here for Smoky Mountain Faith Food and Fun. It's Mater Week, and right here in Appalachia, we'd like to, when it gets hot outside, drink some cool maters that you've home canned. Boy, that's good.